Hey, what's going on there, folks? Welcome back here to a Friday. Finally, Friday. We made it through the work week. It is the Earthmaster out here. June 21st, 2024. It's about 12:05, 12:06 p.m. California time. Latest activity here on the globe does show a 1.9 earthquake into the area of Oklahoma. Did see some further movement across various areas of the planet overnight. Start off down here in the Gulf of California. Now, I know the USGS is not showing that earthquake, but we did have what looks like a 4-pointer down here into the Gulf of California area. Also a 3.3 a little bit further up north here into the Baja California area. That could potentially uptick things here across the southern portion of the state of California. Right now, we do have a few earthquakes out here, mainly along the San Jacinto fault zone with a couple different swarms going on north here and south. Well, maybe the central section here of that fault system. So definitely still looking at somewhat elevated conditions here. Within the last few hours, we've had quite a few earthquakes popping up here, mainly smaller microquakes. There was a 1.7 here, 17 kilometers deep underneath the Los Angeles area. And as you can see, these red circles indicating some of these newer quakes. So we'll continue to keep an eye here on the southern portion of California. The Brawley seismic zone over here, seeing a couple smaller earthquakes as well this morning, stretching up towards the southern branch of the San Andreas Fault. Got a little bit of movement throughout the Nevada area as well. Bay Area, fairly quiet aside from two lonesome earthquakes up here. One outside of Berkeley. The latest quake there, 1.7. Northern California, not a whole lot going on up here today. Things fairly quiet. We'll check out the tremor map later tonight once it updates. Mount St. Helens up here, still seeing some earthquake activity in a little swarm fashion. Got about 4 of them here in the last 24 hours. Nothing big, but still, these earthquakes looking a little bit more shallow, though, compared to the previous earthquake depths there. In the sequence of swarming that's been occurring here over the past month or so. We'll continue to keep an eye on that as well, because definitely looks like things may be recharging there across that area. Here's an interesting one. Looks like this just popped up on the map. 1.1 on the Garlock Fault and very close to the plate boundary here. I think this fault system here that runs opposite of what the San Andreas Fault, the plate boundary, does, plays a lot more in terms of accumulated strain and potential larger earthquakes out here than what it's noted for. So this whole area definitely primed for some larger movement. Eventually, that will take place. Yellowstone National Park, a 0.6 out here just south of Yellowstone Lake. Let's double check that, see what's going on up there. I don't think we got any swarming going on, but there's a little 0.6. I do see it right here. I believe that's it. That little small microquake did show up here at a Lake Butte station as well. So that's how we know that these are legit earthquakes. But really not a whole lot. I mean, a little 0.6. Woo! If that's all Yellowstone has for now, well, that is good. We don't want to wake up Yellowstone. Keep that sleeping. Western Texas, Oklahoma area, still seeing some movement in the oil fields out here. This one is not named specifically in this area, but I'm sure there's some out here. Quite a few, actually. These little checkered boxes here are indeed oil fields, as you can see. A lot of tanks on those little checkered boxes. But anyway, yeah, a little bit of activity out there today. A couple ones, nothing big. New Madrid seismic zone, fairly quiet for now. One earthquake here in the Tennessee area from last night. Yeah, it's a 2.2 right there. All right, let's see what else we got out here stirring up. Did have some further movement up into the Alaska area early this morning with a 5-pointer. This area has definitely been swarming here somewhat over the last couple days, specifically along this area of the Aleutian Trench. very possible. We could be looking at some larger scale movement about ready to take place here in this area. A couple years back, we had that 8-pointer back over here along this segment, but as you can see, this is a long extended subduction zone here between the North American plate to the north and the Pacific plate here to the south. So keep an eye on this area potentially for some further movement with its activity that's ongoing there. Another earthquake here into the Kuril-Kamchatka. This one's fairly deep off the coast of Russia, 113 kilometers deep for a 4.1. Not a big earthquake whatsoever, but obviously it's a sign of continued strain out here against this major subduction zone area as well. The Hawaii area doesn't look like we got anything major changing overnight. Still got a few earthquakes here south of the caldera, or south of the crater area of Kilauea Volcano. Let's go check that out real quick. See if anything's changed here. I mean, day in, day out, the inflation continues to rise with no visual effects there, at least as far as eruption goes. The deformation data shows us starting to go back up here a little bit, very small amount here overnight of stationary activity, but we're continuing to go up here. Up and up and up is the key wording, and all we can do right now is continue to keep an eye on earthquake activity, the deformation data, and go from there. Right now, the majority of the activity here in the last couple days has been south and up here across the upper east rift zone. Let's see what else we got around this region of the world. Looks like a 0.8 or a 4.8. I seen that 4 in there. 135 kilometers deep in the Vanuatu region here. Subduction zone areas out here north of Port Vila. Look at the earthquake 3D globe here. Shows not a whole lot going on across New Zealand. Looks like things are tapered off there for now. A little bit of further activity across the Java Trench stretching northward off the coast of Sumatra, 4.4 earthquake. Yeah, let's see what we got here around the Puerto Rico area. Things look to be somewhat active over here. A little clustering going on out here across the Puerto Rico area, mainly 2s and 3s. A handful of earthquakes, I would say, over the past 30 days. This can be fairly common. These guys do go through quite a bit of swarming on occasion. It's squeezed out here, so to speak, between the Mariotos Trough to the south here and the Puerto Rico Trench up to the north, putting a squeeze on this area. No major quakes, no unusual activity to note there around the Puerto Rico area. Just this typical swarming that's going on there been going on for quite a while. Off into the Mexico area, they've seen a 4.3 late last night. 40 kilometers deep there into that region. South America area, typical movement. On any given day, if you look at earthquakes around the globe here, they're very common in these major areas, major subduction zone regions. Pretty decent swarm over here across the area of the Mediterranean. So let's go see what's going on over here real quick. Definitely got a swarm over here around the Mediterranean Sea area, just off the Crete area. Seen a 4.8 and a handful of other earthquakes out here, as noted on the globe. This is all, well, looks like they did have some further movement out here last week, but most of this activity stirring up in the last 24 hours, right smack dab on the plate boundary there, it looks like. So 4.8 and a handful of smaller quakes in there as well. Iceland area and the Atlantic, not a whole lot going on out there for now in terms of any new development. I know last night the folks up there in Iceland working to reinforce a berm that had been breached on the northern side there around the Svartsengi power plant region. So obviously the crater activity is decreasing, but lava flow is still remaining, right? Lava flow from the crater is not visible on the surface, but may be enclosed in channels, right? Flowing underneath it. However, there's still flow in the lava tubes that crossed the dike north of Slingerfell yesterday. A picture from the public safety webcam at the Slingerfell shows 3 lava tubes flowing over the park and machines working to contain the lava flow. But we do have, obviously, declining activity. A decrease in volcanic activity suggests that the eruption may end in the near future, but it's hard to say, right, exactly how much longer this is going to play out. There's that breach in the berm out here, the bulldozers and whatnot attempting to continue to block that flow of lava that was breached, or the berm that was breached there by the lava. Live from Iceland. See if I can get my fingers to work here today. I know they can. I know they work. Wow, look at these guys. Yeah, that's right. Seen this earlier. They were pouring water out here. They got some type of water cannon. And interesting here. I don't know how effective it is. But look at that. They are super duper close here. Let me back out of here and see if I can find a broader view of the work that's going on here. Yeah, so they're up here right now. They're trying to prevent any further lava there that's back behind this barrier, that berm, from going this way down towards the Savartsingi power plant in the Blue Lagoon. This is going so slow, though, far as the lava. They I have a feeling they will definitely be able to succeed in preventing that lava from going that way. But yeah, they're doing the best they can. And with the slowing of the activity there across the vent, I think it'll work out. Let's see what we got here for the latest inflation underneath this area of Iceland. Go down here a couple graphs, see what we got. Here's around the Grindavik area, the upward displacement here. Still going up slightly, but there's not quite as much of an inflationary event taking place following this eruption as there was last time. Last time, March, April, majority of May, we've seen steady inflation there, along with the eruption, which led to the current eruption right now. So, there was obviously a little pause in between this eruption and the last one, but during the last eruption event, we are still looking at elevated inflation. This one's a little different. There's still definitely, some vertical displacement going on, but not quite as much. But we'll continue to watch that. As far as any unusual earthquake activity up there, let's see what we got. Getting a little bit of movement here across various rift zones south here of the Grindavik area, way south. And really nothing of unusual activity for now, but Iceland continuing to create some beautiful new land out here. All right, space weather activity here. See what we got. Anything major going on? Doesn't look like it overnight. I do see some active regions way out there on the eastern limb. Look at those magnetic lines stretching up here. That is former sunspot 3697. We're just barely getting an upper view of the magnetic structure out there of that sunspot. I have a feeling we're going to be entering into some very active conditions here again. Let's see. See if we got any visual of it yet. There's former sunspot 3691 up here. Doesn't look super complex for now, but I think there's a little bit more hiding behind the eastern limb. 3697 we don't really have a good view of out here. We'll have to check that out in the days ahead. These active regions that had been facing Earth that are now growing continue to drift off to the western limb out here. remaining fairly complex as 3 individual sunspots out here. This one right here appears to be, well, looks like this one this morning here is definitely ramping up as well. So all 3 of these are in some type of growth stage, but they will continue to drift off on the western limb and will be out of sight, out of mind there for a couple weeks before, who knows what, maybe a return. There is 2 sunspots over here that appear to be growing slowly in complexity out here. So we'll watch these 2 regions, and of course the former regions here come around the eastern limb in the days ahead. Overall threat, 15% chance for an X flare, M flare at 60, C flare around 99% chance or so. And yeah, summer solstice yesterday, longest day of the year, at least the longest. It was pretty light out last night. I honestly prefer when it gets dark early. That's just me. I like to barbecue at night, and I hate to wait till 9:30 at night to start my barbecue. So I don't mind barbecuing at 6 in the afternoon, 6:30 in the afternoon, early evening. But that's just me. I like the early nights. Far side watch. Let's see. This is about a day behind. 30. See what this is here. Yeah, so we're just barely getting a little glimpse of 3697. That's going to be this area right here. That is the culprit and former sunspot 3664. It will be renamed to a 3rd renaming process once it gets visible here on the Earth-facing side of the sun, which is this area right here. This is the eastern limb. It's still out there, but we are getting a little glimpse of this area. Still massive in terms of size, but we'll have to wait for the complexity to show up in the magnetic image here. And 3691 over here on the northeastern limb, we do have a little glimpse of it. It doesn't look all that impressive, and I don't think they've named it yet. Nope, not yet, but it doesn't look all that impressive. But I still think we got a little bit hiding behind the eastern limb. We will wait for it. See what we got here in the days ahead. So what do we got here for asteroids? I know we covered this a little bit last night. Got to remember to cover this every early update. Today, a 53-foot asteroid, small house size asteroid there, 1,450,000 miles. They're pretty safe, right? There's some big asteroids out there, but they're all passing at a very safe distance. Really nothing out here. Once these start to get under 100,000 miles or so, then I will do more in-depth detail look at them and track the path and whatnot in this beautiful orbit viewer. Again, if you didn't get a chance to check out my update last night, I covered a couple of these asteroids that are coming up next week. Pretty close to Earth, and this one's huge. Can't remember exactly what that was, but yeah, that's a big one coming up, and a very close one here, 2024 MK. Yeah, we'll look at those a little bit later as we get closer to that, but that's down the road a little bit. And if you go to the space weather site, spaceweather.com, that's something I wish Kevin with Solar Ham would put up on his website. Maybe some close approaches, right? But we can check them on this site and other sites as well. But yeah, this one right here, the big one I was showing you guys, 2,304 meters. That is huge. But it's passing us safely. 17 lunar distances. 17.3. Even that 0.3 matters a lot. The very next close one's going to be that 2024 MK, coming within the Earth-Moon distance there. And that's actually a lot. That's actually a good distance. One lunar distance there, I believe you can fit 33 Earths in, if I remember right. If I remember from my studies back in the space weather science class, when my mind was being overloaded with calculus and whatnot, I believe you can fit, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you can fit 33 Earths within that one lunar distance there, the distance between the Earth and the Moon. Check it out. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Correct me. Let's see here. So that's a good distance. A lot of people think the Moon's way closer than that, but it's not. 162 meter asteroid, and we'll cover that a little bit later as we get closer to the June 29th time period. All right, Storm Prediction Center out here. Got a broad area of severe weather in terms of slight risk. Tornado potential included in that as well. Nothing big. 5 and 2% zone out here in a boomerang type fashion. A little bit down here in Utah as well. Wind and some large hail up into the beautiful sky country up there in Montana. I need to get back up there. Absolutely love that region. Aside from that, let's see what else we got here. Any hurricanes stirring up out here? A little tropical development again down into the Gulf of Mexico. This is a secondary one following Alberto. That's going to bring some further rain down there. I don't think they need it, but it's coming. And maybe, I've seen somewhere that Florida may be seeing some type of tropical system, but it looks like it's off the weather models for now. You look at total accumulated precipitation runs here to the first week, to the first week of July. Look at California. High and dry. Hot and dry out here. A little bit of rain up around the Great Lakes states and whatnot. And, of course, lots of rain through Mexico. While out here, I don't know, man. I guess we get our rain in the wintertime, but I'd like to experience rainfall throughout the majority of the year. Not all the time, but, I'd like to have a few days of warm, hot, followed by some thunderstorms and rain and maybe some tropical moisture. I've lived here too long. California, it's just, I don't know. I think it's time to get out of here. All right, folks. Hello there, Kathleen Westbrook. Thanks for checking in. We appreciate it. Jumped in here on chat just to say hi to the folks real quick. And hello to the 22 viewers out here. Have a good Friday. We will catch you guys back out here later this evening, unless something major goes on here. I'll kind of always watching for that. Hot Caves, Hawaii, a little bit of spiky, small earthquake activity on that station right there in Hawaii near Kilauea Volcano, but nothing big. Take care, folks. Have a good day. I want to see what this earthquake was that came in on my phone. 5.0 earthquake, Indonesia Islands area. So that probably showed up here on the globe. Yep. Well, they downgraded it to 4.7. Have a good one.